In the summer of 2013, the rock band Hericane was summoned up from the four corners of the world to perform a one-time reunion concert 25 years after their career was over.
Right here, fuck! What's up, man? Bruce? Oh, man. How are you, bro? You're looking thin. Thank you, man. Why you been sick?
So here we are. It's the week before the show. We're all in anticipation. And, man, I'm just feeling all kinds of anxiety from the guys. People are really apprehensive about this film and what's going to happen and, you know, who's going to own it. And it's just like, oh my gosh, everybody settle down. We're just going here to have fun.
And Bruce called me and he said, hey, so we got this show and this and that, whatever, and get the boys back together. And I instantly said, I'm in, I'm down, I'll do it. Tell me where to be, and you know, and I'm there.
Got a call from Bruce to put this reunion thing together. And my first reaction is, it's gonna be great to see everybody. It's gonna be awesome just to hang out. It's not even, I mean, it's been so many years to play that music.
So this reunion, it's actually kind of interesting because Bruce, if you know Bruce, and you might get to know him through this, he always like baits you with an idea, of this simple, like we're gonna go to Vegas and just, you know, catch up and have a, you know, one show and that's it. And then the next thing I know, I'm sitting in front of a camera doing an interview.
What'd you guys hope to get out of this?
Huh? Out alive.
Out alive?
Out alive. Yeah. Well, not getting. I just go 500 bucks. 500 bucks.
500 bucks.
He really needed the 500. 500 would be good.
How I started getting into music was I was into the theatrical scene, like bands like Kiss, and I thought Gene Simmons was a very, very cool character and everything. Every time they come out with a record, all me and my friends would go down and buy their record, and he really inspired me to start playing.
I remember being about yay high and being in the choir at church. There was just a lot of music in my family. I got a guitar when I was 8 years old for Christmas because I think I pestered my mom to death. And it took a lot of years to get to where I could actually play a song. One thing that really inspired me was the Beatles. Right now, when I hear those Beatles songs, they're so ingrained in my personality. I mean, it's just a part of me and how I write, and I absolutely adore the Beatles.
I come from a really musical family, so from, you know, a little tiny kid, I remember going to these crazy barbecues and parties that they would throw, and everybody would just, you know, jam and stuff. So music for me has kind of just been, you know, from the beginning. I mean, it was all I knew, really. 7th grade, I had a buddy of mine in school that, you know, we'd go and hang out at his house all the time, and I walked into his room one day, and there was a blue Sparkle Ludwig drum kit sitting there. And I walked over to it, sat down behind it, and could play instantly, could just play it. And he came over and grabbed the sticks and said to me, don't play the drums, because you can't. And something just stuck in my head from that point. And 3 months later, he was selling that drum kit, and I begged my dad to buy it. He bought it for me, and that's how it started.
I started playing when I was 12, so that was many moons ago. Took guitar lessons, always tried to get better. I think I'm kind of lucky in the sense that I am able to do something with my life that I've always loved to do, which is play the guitar. I remember doing an interview one time with Metal Edge magazine back in the day, and they asked what you wanted to do in the future. And I said I wanted to write for guitar magazines and do instructional videos. And years later, that's what I'm doing, so be careful what you wish for.
I remember the day we got our record deal. Glenn Parrish called us up and said, come on up tonight to Stevie's house, the Blue Castle, and we're gonna sign the contract with Atlantic Records. And we were all kind of like, I wonder if it's going to go through this time, because we've done that a million times. And right in there is where we signed our record deal, which was about that thick. And they said, here, sign this. We had a party, we all started drinking, and we just signed our lives away.
TV's on the 32nd floor. I got everything I want.
At the end of Hurricane Alice, we actually had put a bunch of work into a second album.
We were in pre-production for a long time for the second record. I think we were in pre-production for, God, man, it seems like a couple of months almost. We wrote 25 or 30 songs, something like that. We had a lot of tunes.
We were gonna do a second record, and then Black Friday came and everybody got dropped.
It was a weird transitionary period in music, rock music, because Seattle was starting to really break out and make noise.
The Seattle sound came in and kind of wiped us out a little bit. Although I liked the Seattle sound, I thought that the music, the 80s music, was based around a little bit more partying and fun, which was what I was kind of doing in my life.
And at that time, I was really resentful against that whole movement that was happening with the flannel and the, like, because we had come from like, oh, the big hair and you got to look badass and you got to put on a show. And Seattle was all about, hey, fuck that shit. And everybody looks just, like they were, working in a, whatever, wearing their flannels and stuff like that. And I hated it. Now I look back on it and I respect it.
You can't go back and do it again, So when you see us on stage at 50 years old, I hope it doesn't come off as being like, well, these guys still think they're rock stars or anything like that, because it's not about that at all. It's just about having fun.
This band had a brotherhood kind of feeling, because we came up and it was our first deal, and there was just a connection between the guys.
Every time we get together, it's exactly the same. It's like we haven't missed a beat. It's almost like somebody pushed pause on the machine, and then, okay, 25 years later, play, and you just kind of like pick up right where you left off. And I've never had that kind of connection.
So here we are, we finished the 10 days shooting and practicing, and it turns out a lot of our fears were unfounded. A lot of us were worried we were going to look like a bunch of old guys trying to relive a young guy's dream that, in the case of this band, it never really materialized. We missed our window. The 1990s were not conducive to hair bands, and that's right as we were about to break. And what we really found out is that there's this gold. And the gold is that we had this great chemistry, great friendship, just amazing. Pure gold, diamond in the rough thing, and I think we all had some real discovery about that.